fellow traders. This is Michael again on video 2 here, looking at the DXY for a week ahead on 8/23. It's Sunday night. The week's pretty much starting for the Forex market. I also have an article, like I previously mentioned, that is pending publishment. It should be published tonight or early tomorrow morning by Seeking Alpha on the dollar index. And I wanted to jump down now, keeping the same indicators as video 1, which you should reference before watching this, and looking at the weekly chart. As you can see, when we zoom in, the reason I drew these other lines and taking basically these upper sloping and downward sloping trend lines and taking them out further, you'll see in a second why I did that. But as you can see, like I mentioned, we're in wave 4. The sideways triangle is a lot more refined. The sell-off that we had last week was necessary to get us to hit this bottom upward sloping trend line. As you can see, if what I'm thinking is that we'll come up again and start making these lower highs and higher lows, and coming up to this might take 5-10 more days. It might take it could take a couple days, but basically you can see we'll start trading sideways and consolidating more until we have a break. They say the trend is your friend. Always bet on the previous trend direction. That's with the Elliott. Without Elliott wave counts, you wouldn't know if this thing will turn into a reversal. But knowing that we're in wave 4 indicates that this is a continuation pattern, and it's a sideways triangle, which usually it will hit the apex, and it will bounce up here, for instance, and then it will bounce back down. And then as soon as it bounces down, the next time it shoots up, you should notice that the stochastics oscillator is not yet oversold. So what I think is going to happen is this. This price action is going to retrace from the what I believe is the deleveraging sell-off from the economic announcements that were indicating lower than expected growth, which basically we had a lot of dollar longs that, unlike using the dollar as a safe haven currency and buying the dollar in a panic, individuals are buying it on a carry trade. They're basically anticipating the interest rate on the dollar to increase, and basically all other things being equal, you could essentially lend, borrow at another currency and then go long the U.S. dollar, making that interest rate differential. In theory, that's essentially what a carry trade is. So when the negative or not so great economic announcements came out last week, as I previously mentioned, the possibility of a rate hike, which acts to attract capital to the now higher interest rate currency, it was a lower possibility because the economic announcements indicated lower growth, and rates are raised in order to slow down overheated or rising economy to keep it within the Federal Reserve's or central bank's monetary policy goals, usually a narrow band of inflation among other factors. But it comes down to inflation, interest rates, balance of payments, and those top level reports. So basically what I think is going to happen is we're going to actually have a recovery from that sell-off of the dollar, and it's going to come back up. And as it goes up, you got to realize that stochastics, RSIs, and other oscillators are actually lagging oscillators. The lagging indicators. So as we're going back up here, you're going to probably see this oscillator go into the oversold area, and then what's going to happen is we're going to hit this top downward sloping trend line, and we're going to come down for one more test of the upward sloping trend line, which will most likely will be at one of these support levels. This is actually, I believe, it's one of the Fibonacci lines right here. It's a 38.2%. 0.382%, so it's probably going to come up there, come back down, test where it actually converges, and whenever there's a convergence, it's always a stronger level. Oscillators will be probably in the oversold area, and what will happen is then it will go back up towards the breakout, and then that's when probably around the same time that we'll start hearing more about the Federal Reserve initiatives as far as rate hikes and other positive economic announcements. They'll tend to start coming out. So that's where I'm at on the weekly, and next is the daily. Thank you.